Good afternoon, and welcome to M.M.E. I'm your host, Blind Prime, and for today we're going to be covering Override in their robot mode, aka Nitrous Prime. Here, Override is in their glorious robot mode. This is a really spiky robot mode, but it's a really nice one too. Uh, I really enjoy it. I think it's an excellent addition to the collection, and we're going to talk about it today. But before we do that, if you like what you see here, and you want to help me raise awareness for the blind through alternative means and methods, then please hit that like button, subscribe, and share. And also leave a comment in the comments below. Did you get a Cosmos? I know a lot of people didn't get a Cosmos. I didn't get a Cosmos. I still want a Cosmos. I really hope Hasbro re-releases that mold. Um, or, maybe I can find it at a Transformers convention in October. I don't know. But I do know that I am a bit upset that I didn't get my Cosmos. It was one of my favorite Transformers. I liked all the mini pots. Alright, so Cosmos stuff aside, there's that negative on this guy. We'll talk about Override here. So Override, we'll discuss the accessory first, because the accessory is a weird one, that's for sure. By weird, I mean it's very similar to the parts forming shield for Cliff Jumper, but it's not a parts forming piece. But it is a parts forming piece because it creates the engine on the back of the vehicle. But it's a gun, and it's not really parts forming. See how confusing this one is? This is just a gun that becomes an engine. It's pretty cool. It's got two big gun barrels, one on each side. It's a double barrel thing, kind of like that gun that came with Grimlock. And it's got these two little, spin things on either side of it that you can move at a 45-degree angle, which I think is really cool that you can put those at 45 degrees. And then it's got a peg underneath it, and it's got a peg hole on top of it, so that, let's see if we can find another weapon. Aha, here's one. And we're just going to go and plug this weapon into that, like that. Okay, now I'm going to raise you up, and you can have the double barrel. It's the quad barrel gun. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, it's crazy. It's obnoxious. It's awesome. Okay, let's put this gun, the Battle Master, back on Beachcomber. And let's go ahead and remove this accessory. The accessory is really nice. It's got some very little waffling. There is waffling on the underside of the barrels, but that's kind of it. Everything else on this guy is solid. It's a really nice little gun. And I really appreciate the fact that it has 4 moving pieces, 2 barrels that move, and these 2 little fins that move. That's really neat. So we're setting the gun off to the side. I do like it. It's got a decent weight to it. It's actually maybe a little too heavy, because it could damage the shoulder of your guy if you're not careful on how you display it. So be aware of that. That gun is a little heavy, and it will cause drag on the joints. So let's go over here, and we'll talk about articulation and whatnot. And for some reason, this guy's not been completely transformed. Hey, now, don't you be like that. Okay, so head-wise, articulation. This head can rotate almost 360 degrees. All right, it gets stuck. It can't look up, it can't look down, it can't crack its neck side. It can kind of crack its neck side to side, but not really. This one's more on a pin instead of a ball joint for the head. Articulation for the shoulders. You can do 360 rotation. The shoulder can raise up at 90 degrees. The elbow can also do a 90, and there is a bicep swivel also. The hand rotates, which is another bonus. I really wish the hand opened and closed, because I think all the Prime's hands need to open and close, but oh well. Now we're coming down here to the waist, and the waist has got some articulation there, but because of this back panel and how it works for the transformation, you can only get a slight bend in either direction, which is kind of sad. It would be cool if they had figured out a way to fold up this underside bit, like one little fold, and then that would have allowed for full 360-degree movement in that waist area. Kicking up at a 90, we can kick at the side at a 90, we can kick at the back at a 45, and the knee can bend more than a 90. The knee can bend at, what is that, 140 45 degrees, something like that. This is a very nice thing. And I want to also say that I really like these knees. Okay, I like the way they fold up to make this nice thing. But I also appreciate this knee armor here. It's spiky. I do wish they hadn't flattened that bit. It would be cooler if that bit was pointed. But just boom. If you don't know much about martial arts, I'll teach you something real quick. Thai boxing is a very interesting martial art, and Thai boxing teaches a lot about how to utilize one's knees and elbows to make strikes, because your knees and your elbows are actually the most dangerous parts of your body. And I was watching this anime years ago called Kenichi, World's Greatest Disciple. I recommend that anime. It's a hoot. Anyway, in it, there's a mentally handicapped individual who does Thai boxing, and he's like the greatest boxer in the world. And Kenichi tries to learn from him. And he's like, I will teach you like my master taught me. And then he changes his voice and his face a little bit, and he's like, every strike is meant to kill. And Kenichi's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Oh, it's a fun anime. Anyway, so that's the articulation for the knee. Let's get down here to the feet, and the feet have the side-to-side tilt. Not much of a tilt on each side, but enough of a tilt that you can get him to do a spread motion for his legs. You can put him in sort of a horse stance if you want to. All right, so that's it for his articulation. Oh, crap. That piece always is coming loose on his shoulder. And now let's talk about the feel of this guy. This guy, number one, it's weighty. He's got a decent weight to him. Number two, they use that nice plastic that we've been seeing since War for Cybertron days. It's not that thin, weird feeling plastic that they used for Titan's Return or Power of the Primes. This is an excellent plastic, and I do enjoy it. The feel of this thing is quite unique. It's just sleek everywhere. This guy is so sleek. He feels like something that just walked out of an 80s cartoon or an early 90s cartoon. It's all these sleek angles, but the feet, they're pointy, and I do appreciate the fact that we come around here to the back and they sculpted these heels that feel like, robot heels. They have little circles in them. They feel like they're parts of the inside of the car, and they're now being used as heels. I like that. Come around here to the back of the legs, and we get that the engine parts on the front folded up to cover up that hollowness in the back of the leg. And now, because of that armor folded up there, it just gives the back of the leg more definition and more depth. It makes it feel like it's a more complicated machine than it is. All right, I just breathed in a cat hair. And so that's it for the legs on the back end. On the front, we got this nice, just sleek feeling thing, comes all the way up to the knees. The knee pads are excellent. We talked about those on the side of the car. They're these weird shield feeling things. And the wheel for his front is at a 45-degree angle on the side. I do like how the wheel kind of sticks out just a bit because of the way the transformation works. It makes it, I don't know, I think it looks cooler that way. Anyway, coming up here to the thighs, we get thighs that they didn't do much with. They're very smooth, they're very regular, not really much going on, and on the back end of them, we've got the hollowness galore. There's so much waffling on the back of those thighs. That is it's just wild how much waffling is on the back of those thighs. Coming up here to the waist area, we've got a really nice crotch. It's really well designed. It feels really armored and stuff. For some reason, there's a little hole in there. That's weird. Coming up here further, we got the windscreen for the front of the vehicle that makes up his chest, and on either side, we've got the pieces that make up the sides of the vehicle that have folded up to create his shoulder connections. And then finally, we have the head, and I love this head. I love the V in the head. If you feel the head, you've got the little antennas coming off on either side, and then if you feel how they come down on both sides and make this wonderful V formation all the way down there. That is, and people say, Victory Saber's the only Gundam like This guy's totally Gundam-like. He feels it all the way. Like these legs feel like something Gundam would have, something the Zeons would make. This head definitely feels like something that the Earth Federation would make Gundam-wise. It's really weird how there's a V there for victory, and got the victory saber and stuff. I'm like, is this supposed to be an add-on to the victory saber? That's wild. I like the head, and I think it's a fun head. And you feel in there, you got some really nice details in there too. I don't think they gave him. Oh, they gave him lips, I think. Yeah, I think that's maybe. No, that's a really small area down there. Did he get lips? Yeah, I think he got lips. Not a face shield. Anyway, yeah, just flip him around to the back, and we got a very clean backpack. Actually, we got a weird backpack because it's got this shelf at the very top, and then it's just hollow. It's empty below. And that shelf is so that you can take Mr. Gunn here that we folded up earlier in the episode, and you can plug that into his back for storage. There we go. And it's just going to hang out on his back for storage, but it also makes his backpack complete. I think that's actually kind of cool. You got a nice little thing going there with your gun. Hopefully you never lose it. Anyway, now let's talked about everything about this guy. I think he's an excellent thing. I just forgot his arms. His arms are very nice. They have the siege ports on the back of the arm, and we're about to talk siege ports. But I do love it whenever they put the siege ports on the back of the shoulder instead of the side, because then you can hang weapons from there. Sadly, you can't hang his weapon from there, but you can hang anybody else's weapon just about. Let's see, do I even have anybody else's weapon on hand? I don't think I have anybody else's weapon. Oh, wait. I have your weapon. Yeah, let's grab your pistol. We'll just use your pistol because I don't want to try and put that thing back on your shoulder, Hound. So, on the back of his arm, you can just store this pistol. There you go. And now it's out of the way. You can't see it in the profile too much. It's wonderful. And then, you can always just take it off and put it in his hand. I think that is quite excellent. Look at that. Just put it in his hand. There we go. Anyway, so let's talk siege ports before I talk negatives. I count the hands. I know Perspectivin don't count the hands, but I count the hands. We got 2 hands, so 2 there, 2 siege ports there. The back of the arms are siege ports. There's a siege port on his back, and then when you plug the gun in, there's still a siege port there, so that's kind of neutralized. That's fun. So that is 6, 7. And then on the sides of his legs, we got some siege ports right above the wheels. So that's 8 and 9. And then on the bottoms of his feet, we've got siege ports on his toes. So that's 10 and 11. 11 siege ports. He is at the average. At the average for siege ports. Now let's talk about negatives. Negatives on this guy include the fact that you got to be careful when moving his arm because this thing didn't have a good enough connection point. And if you're not careful, although you could actually just display it like that as in somebody's ripping him apart, but if you turn the arm too much, the entire assembly for that front wheel or the back wheel comes folding down, and then you have to fold everything back in there, and that's a negative on that. I do wish that they had done a better job with that connection point there. It is annoying, but it is like one of the few annoying things about this figure. Another annoying thing about this figure is I'm so done with these single jointed elbows. I really wish they would figure out, give us more elbows because I want to get more dynamic poses, and you can't really get that many with a single jointed elbow, especially one that ends at a 90 degree. You could have cut out some more in there and given us an elbow that reached more than 90. I'd appreciate that at least. I don't like the 90. This guy doesn't have any sort of connection points on either side of his head, but he does have something that you can do now that you have Beachcomber. So I'll showcase that. No, you're Warpath. Yeah, Beachcomber, you're right here. Where's your parakeet? Beachcomber, where's the parakeet? Oh, parakeet's on Warpath. That's why I picked up Warpath. Okay, here we go. Warpath, and we can put the parakeet right there. It doesn't like to sit too much because that's not an exact... There's these little pegs, one on either side of his head, and it doesn't fit in there too well, but it does fit in there, and you can have the parakeet hanging out beside Override. I think that's fun. Yeah, he's got a little friend. He can't pet it because he doesn't have the reach. Every time I come across something that doesn't have the reach to be pet, I'm putting him back on Warpath there. There we go. I think of that scene from Fairly Odd Parents where the big fairy, the one that had the Arnold Schwarzenegger voice, he made the wish to become powerful. I think it was it, it was the action movie episode, and he became so muscular, and then his cat got so annoyed that he wasn't spending time with the cat that the cat Timmy threw the cat at his face, and the cat just starts clawing away at his face. But his muscles are so big, he can't get the cat off his face, and he's just screaming, trying to get the cat off his face, but he can't because his biceps are so large. Oh, that scene cracks me up. Anyway, overall rating of this guy, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. It's excellent robot mode, great articulation, really fun accessory, but there's just some parts about him that are annoying. And I wish they had spent a little more time on, like the fact that this arm piece can just fold down. That's annoying, and you gotta kind of fold that back up. I think the transformation for this is quite excellent. Like his transformation is definitely an it's simple, and that's a little annoying. I wish it was a little more complicated, but at the same time, it was an excellent transformation that got you there. So that transformation for him would be getting an 8 out of 10. It's an excellent transformation. It went through all the steps. You didn't sit there and get frustrated because you're like, how in the world do I move from point A to point B? It's pretty intuitive. It's a decent transformation. The vehicle mode for this guy is it's an 8 out of 10 as well. The vehicle mode is quite excellent. Actually, I give the vehicle mode an 8.5 out of 10. I absolutely like that vehicle mode. And I think it was a perfect vehicle mode for the Velocitron series. The robot mode, it has its problems, but so that it gets a 7, but it's got a lot of good things about it too, and that's why it gets a 7. It's not a bad robot mode. It's just a robot mode I wish they had they had done a few different things on. Making this head so stiff is another thing I'm just a little weird on. But mainly, I just don't like these how these arms keep coming apart. If they had just made that peg a little longer, it would grip the arm area tougher. But then again, they didn't want you to accidentally break the peg off like you could with Studio Series 101 Scourge, where you can break those pegs off because they made those pegs too long. See, and so that's that. You got to find the golden moment, the golden size, the just right. Yeah, the Scourge is too long, and Override here is too short, at least when it comes to those rectangular peg lengths. Anyway, I think I have blathered on quite enough about this excellent little Prime. Yeah, female Prime nonetheless, and also a female character that they didn't feel the need to add, badonkadonks on or anything like that. It ain't got a big butt. It doesn't have a big chest area. It's a robot that sees itself as female and doesn't feel the need to put mammalian female parts on it. And I approve of that strongly. I think it's just the creepiest thing in the world whenever something built like this, a thing that transforms into a vehicle, has breasts. It just really, really creeps me out. Just like, why do you have that? Why do you have that? It's so weird. No, don't do it. Oh, oh. Even thinking about this squishy breasted RC makes me cringe. Just it's disgusting. It's so gross. No, I don't want to see any sort of mammalian organs on any of the Transformers, male or female. No. Next, they're just going to be making the male Transformers with bulgier crotch sections to be like, see, we're making things equal. Like, just take the breasts away and everything will be fine. I am not a person that likes robot poob. Anyway, I've blathered on long enough to you, my viewers, and thank you so much for watching today's episode. And thank you so much for watching my channel and sharing it. And we're at 682 subscribers, and I couldn't have done it without your help. And I'll keep pushing out these videos, and you keep sharing my stuff with whomever whomever you feel froggy to share it with. Actually, you know what's something fun that I want you to do if you're still watching? Share this with people that talk bad about the blind. Oh, that would be wonderful. Just do it. It would be beautiful. Somebody on the YouTube talking crap about the blind. Just share this stuff with them. Make it. Oh, that'd make my day. I'm a bit of a troll, so I like trolling people. And if you can help me troll people with my videos, especially bigots. I love trolling bigots. All right, for real this time. Bye bye. Talk to you later.